And also, is your studio really called Stuido Studios?
Stuido Studios.
Stuido Studios.
We are extremely dyslexic.
Man.
Yes, it's super.
Hello there, my name's Brandon, and today I'm talking with one of the developers of The Take. It's their first game officially as a studio, and they're here on the PAX East show floor showing it off on the Oculus Rift. Can you tell me about your experience as an indie dev attending the convention for your first time?
Man, it's a crazy experience. Like, it's the first time PAX is 4 days, so we were not expecting this. It's a lot of people. You have to deal with a lot of people who are meeting us for the first time as a studio. They're meeting the game for the first time. Unlike other studios, we come from New York, so we just took a car, got our TVs, got our gear, came here. We recently launched the game between GDC and PAX. I think that was the toughest decision we ever made. I would not recommend doing that, but if you really want to push it, it's kind of worth it. Having the game available at PAX gets the people that are playing it be like, oh, I can go on Steam and wishlist it, or I can go on Steam and buy it. So it gets them moving, because if it's a game that you're going to release way later on, they might forget about it.
That seems to be a popular mindset in recent years. Don't release a version of the game on the show floor that's not totally ready. Release the full game and be like, you can buy it. It's the Netflix method.
Yeah, especially if you're in the indie world, man. Coming to a con is really expensive. There's a lot of prices that you really underlook or underestimate, like having your gear ready, having all the swag that you're going to give away, the banners, everything that you want to buy. A lot of the crafting that we did for our booth, we made ourselves, like paper crafting.
And gear's really hard. I hear from a lot of devs who are across the country who come to PAX East, you can't bring your own equipment. You have to buy it in Boston. Yeah. And that's super expensive.
Yeah, and the renting for the equipment is like, you can be renting a TV for almost $2,000, like throughout the weekend of PAX.
In fact, there are people on the show floor right now selling the TVs they rented for their booth today at PAX. That's crazy.
Yeah, so you gotta watch out. Like, the way that we got ready for PAX especially, we learned from a lot of other devs. So if you go to Gamma Sutra, you go to GDC Talks, they like to share their experience, indie devs, how they manage their finances. Because I feel like the best that you gotta know is have your game ready, have your best vertical slice, and make sure your budget is on point. Because you don't want to be wasting too much money. We're indie devs, we need that, you gotta hustle.
So tell me, what is your role at this company?
So I am business development lead of the company, so I lead all the business development of the studio, and I'm also the 3D art lead, so I'll do all the 3D art. My partner, Robert Cancelo, who I started the company with, does a lot of the graphic design and a lot of the production areas of the game. Us two together design the games and do a lot of the game design, the organization, and then our partner who later joined us to found the studio completely, John Korn, does all the lead development for it. So he's the main coder, the main guy behind all the bulk of what goes in the game.
See, that's actually a really unique thing that I don't think I've covered yet so far, is that when you are a small team, in fact, your different roles, and not just like, oh, I'm an artist, I'm a programmer, I'm in charge of business. I file legal play. I'm head of legal at Scarecrow Arts, but I also do art and programming, whereas you're doing all the business back end.
Yep, I do all the business, all the budgeting, all the forecasting, and also all the legal stuff that we got to do, like all the contracts. We make sure you want to have contracts in place. If you're an indie developer, do not skip over the contracts.
Do not.
You want to have contracts for your contractors, for people that are working with you, people that made a sound for you. You want to make sure that you're legally safe.
You don't want to get stuck with the wrong publisher.
Yeah, that too. You want to make sure, and this is money that will not go to waste. So I know it's a lot of money to get a lawyer, a lot of money to get these things done, but it's a good place to put it in.
So you guys already developed one game for VR. Do you think it's still super lucrative at this point? VR is kind of new, but it's starting to be flooded over on the Steam marketplace. What kind of title are you going to develop next?
So yeah, we are still going to develop VR titles. Virtual reality right now, like you said, it is getting flooded, but it's getting flooded with the wrong content. So what a lot of people are doing, they're going to Steam and putting all these tech projects that are very unpolished for $1 and $2. So they're really messing up the market. And then you have all the AAA studios putting up games that are like $60. So there's nothing in the middle. Us, we're trying to make a game that feels extremely indie but really good, that has a lot of game-based style and sells for $10. We try the best to hustle our way through like the headsets and the computers. If you want to get into virtual reality, talk to the people at Oculus. They have a program called Oculus Start that will supply you with a dev kit. The HTC Vive people will also do the same thing. We borrow HTC Vive from our friends to develop the game through the first 6 months, so we didn't own our own headset. We borrowed it and used it. Our first computer was also borrowed. Like I said, if you're starting indie, you want to make sure that you can hustle your way through most of the stuff, and then just focus on what you want to do, which is making the game.
Thank you so much for talking to me, Jose. Yeah. The Take looks great. You can get it right now on Steam for Oculus and Vive.
Yeah. So yeah, if you go on Steam right now, the game is available $9.99. It works on Vive right now. The Oculus update is going to come the first week of May. Also Windows mixed reality headset. And if you have PlayStation VR, we're hitting that in the summer.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thanks so much for talking to me and taking the time.
Thank you, man. Thank you for the interview.
Have an awesome PAX, dude.